Hello, my friends. It has been almost 2 full years since I created this YouTube channel and uploaded the first painfully awkward video to it. So I am going to stick with the tradition I started last year, where every year I share an update video with you all, letting you know what's been going on with the channel and what's been going on behind the scenes with the business and my life, as well as letting you know where we're headed going forward. So if you're interested in that, this will be a bit more personal vlog style video. So stay tuned. If you're not interested in that, then I will see you in the next one. So first things first, I want to say a big thank you for sticking with me for another year and for supporting the content, the community, the channel, all of that good stuff. We made it to over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is mind-blowing to me. You've made me feel like anything is possible with this growth we've been seeing. So we're aiming for 100K next year. So seriously, thank you for showing up for me and for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all of that good stuff. But also for responding to the surveys when I send them out and giving that good feedback. And thanks for just sharing the support and just the warmth and kindness that you all share when you know I'm like struggling with something or feeling overwhelmed. It really does mean a lot, and knowing that you all are there for me in that way. And I hope I can return the favor as well and be there for you all with these videos and just with reaching out to you all in your direct messages or in the community space and whatnot. So thank you. None of this would be possible without all of your support. And I will do my best to return that love and support you all as well. Which leads me to my next point. I want to say that I'm sorry. Like, I am really sorry. I've missed weeks of YouTube videos. I haven't been as active in the community spaces, like in the Slack channel. I feel like I'm way less active there than I used to be. I get weeks behind on my LinkedIn inbox sometimes, so I am really sorry. I have been feeling more disconnected lately. I have been a little bit more distant, and that has to do with a lot of reasons, but I think it all comes down to feeling pretty burnt out between the cross-country move and, becoming a first-time homeowner and just like renovating the home that we purchased while living in it. Has led to so many like invasive kind of like headaches and emergencies between like pipes bursting and having to like move to an Airbnb for months, people in and out of the house. It's derailed a lot of like my mental energy, so to speak, taking a lot of attention and decision making. But also the business has been growing quite a bit over the past 6 months, and I've been trying to build a team. So investing a lot in a team and delegating and figuring out that whole side of things. It's resulted in a lot of back end work where I'm working a lot behind the scenes and through other people. And again, it's not even just like I'm busy for like 60 hours a week or something. It's just like a lot more very, very draining decisions. It's a lot more decision making, which makes it a lot harder at the end of the day to say, okay, now I'm going to show up for the audience and record a YouTube video, or okay, now I'm going to catch up on all these messages and help support people, because I just feel so exhausted at the end of some of these days that I'm like, I need to just like lay down. So I've recognized that. And again, I am sorry for the consequences it has had for all of you. I feel like I haven't been creating as much high value content as I would like. And that just makes me feel guilty. And it's kind of like a cycle, like a very unproductive cycle. But that's where I've been. So just being transparent about that. But that's going to change. So I think I've been trying to move too fast with growing the team and growing the business as a whole. So I'm going to try to take some of the pressure off on that front. And I'm going to just, instead of focus on building a team of these content creator instructional designers, I'm just going to refocus it back on me creating content, because that's what I love the most. I love creating the free YouTube content for you all. I love connecting with you all in the community and like working with you all directly. So that's what I'm refocusing on going forward. Number one priority is never missing a week of really high value YouTube content. So that's like, I cannot let that happen again. All signs point to you all liking the YouTube content the most. It's where I feel like I'm making the biggest impact. So that is like number one priority. And then beyond that, trying to be more active myself in the community space. So those are my goals going forward. And I think I'll be able to stand by those. just to let you know, like you're watching this probably on a Tuesday. So this Thursday, I'm heading out of town for a week. I'm heading to Florida with my wife, and we're going to go see our families for the first time since moving out here across the country. So that will be like a nice reset point to hopefully, just get some downtime. Try not to look at my phone or laptop or anything, so I can come back feeling really energized and less burnt out, so I can show up as my best self for all of you, because that's what you all deserve. So again, I am sorry for being a bit more distant. Speaking of the community space though, so we've had a lot going on with the community this year. If you've been following along, then you're probably curious what's happening. So I guess the first place to start is with this devlinpeck.community big push that we did a few months ago. It was with the platform called AirMeet, and it was really cool on first glance. It's like this 24/7 lounge essentially that we can go into, hop in live tables that are topic oriented. Our goal was to essentially have like live programming for instructional designers every day. So like workshops and classes and hangouts for networking. That was the goal. And it was all for completely free, no paid aspect of this. That was the vision. And initially, and we were doing that for a while. We did have events like every day of the week sometimes, and it was a very big team effort. So it was like me and a couple people on my team. It was our friends at TPLD, Teaching a Path to Learning and Development. Emily Chorley, really good e-learning designer. We were all working together to bring this daily programming to people, but there are a few reasons why I don't think this is going to be working out long term. One is just like it was a huge effort. Maybe we underestimated the effort. Maybe we thought it was going to be a big push in the beginning, and then it would get more. It would kind of be more sustainable. But it was just like every single day. It was hours from not just myself, but multiple of my team members all working on scheduling events, rescheduling events as things came up for people, announcing the events, planning for them. It was a huge effort, and I started feeling like I was kind of spamming people, like here are the 5 events this week, and then a week later here are the 5 events now, with like multiple sentences for each, and sending out all of the emails. So I started to feel a little bit spammy. I started to notice engagement drop off a little bit after several weeks of that. And then I was just like, why are we investing so much time and money and effort into this when it seems like the audience, all of you aren't really, that's not like some super valuable thing for you all like we kind of imagined it would be. So looking at that data, I just realized at a certain point, I'm like, I think people would appreciate YouTube videos that they could watch on their own time, and take less time getting the same or more value. I think that may be a better route to go. And it would be less of a push on our part, less effort on our part. So it would make more sense. It's like if we can give more value for less effort, we should probably be doing that. And that's not even to mention all of the technical limitations with this platform, AirMeet. It was so expensive. It was like a super expensive platform. Like on the sales calls, it seemed so good, but it felt like almost immediately after like making this big payment, it was like a bait and switch. So there were like technical issues, just so I don't want to get into it here, but the platform itself was kind of like the nail in the coffin, where from the beginning, I felt like I was having to constantly fight the technology to get it to do what we wanted to do. The user experience was confusing for people. There were a lot of things that went into that platform not being super sustainable, and I'm not really going to try to send new people to it or anything. I think we're going to not be renewing our contract or anything with that platform. So that's AirMeet. That's the devlinpeck.community space that we've been using, that you may have spent some time on if you've been following along with us the past several months. But now let's move on onto Slack. So the Slack community, that's been our primary form of communication, like a primary form of social interaction for the past 2 years, honestly. We're at over 5,000 people in there now. The activity is like too much for me to keep up with, but it also is just not sustainable anymore. We've outgrown Slack. It's disorganized. We have like so many channels. There's no real good way to organize it. We lose our messages every couple of weeks because it only gives you access to the last 10,000 messages unless we're paying like over $5,000 a month because of how many people we have in there. So it's just unsustainable. The automations aren't there for stuff we needed to do. So I haven't really announced this to everyone yet, but yeah, we are moving away from Slack into a new kind of text-based community space. Okay, so we've been rolling this out in waves. We're gonna have we're gonna have it announced to everyone probably by the end of June, but if not by the end of June, then very early July. But we're moving into a platform called Circle, and some of you may be a part of Circle communities. The platform has been around for a couple of years now. We did a pilot of it. If some of you have been here for a really long time, you may remember we piloted Circle about a year and a half ago, or maybe a year ago. But it just wasn't there yet. It was a little bit glitchy. They didn't have apps for like the phones yet. But over the past year, that Circle has been making updates to make them an even better community platform for us. And it feels like these other platforms like Slack have been making updates to just make it a worse option for us. So it's kind of clear where things are going at this point. So we've been bringing people into that Circle community from our paid courses now, and it's really cool. Like, I'm already enjoying spending more time there. We can organize things much better. So we have a lot of room to grow with this new community space. Again, if you're watching this right when it went live, it's not fully open to all of the free people yet. We're starting to let people in there though. So if you want to be one of the first people in there, I will share a sign up link in the description. But I'll send out an email to everyone announcing it pretty soon. So there will be a lot more activity in there in July. So I'm excited about that. And then we have Nathan, the community manager. He's going to help stay on top of things in there. We're going to have some good programming and activities in there to help everyone stay connected, and just to help answer your questions and support you all. And I'll be spending a lot of time in there as well. So it would be a really good way for me to work with all of you, instead of having to keep up with inboxes across all of the different platforms, which I'll try my best to do as well. So those are the community updates. Sorry, I have my speaking points over here. I don't want to miss anything. So let's move on to the courses. So I know some of you are in some of the courses. Some of you may be curious about what's going on the paid front. We've had the bootcamp. You've probably heard about the bootcamp. I mentioned it in quite a few videos, but that too, I mean, it's been going strong. People have been accomplishing some really good things in the bootcamp. We kind of have this process down to a science to helping people land these really strong roles. But I was feeling very burnt out from the bootcamp feedback. And the support we were able to provide wasn't keeping up with the demand. The past few launches we did, same day we launched it, we would sell out our 50 seats. And then for the next 3 or 4 months, I would be constantly on one-on-ones and giving hours of feedback every single day, which is good. And I honestly do enjoy that, but it did take me away and make it really hard to focus on creating free content for you all, at least if I didn't want to be working until midnight most nights. So it was too much. So I hired some bootcamp pros, and these are people who had been in the bootcamp for a long time and were showing leadership basically being leaders in the bootcamp community when they first enrolled. So they completed the bootcamp, landed these really good opportunities, or built these really strong businesses. And then I was basically like, hey, can I pay you to help give some of this feedback? And then I started giving them feedback on the feedback they were giving to make it even more scalable. So that's been good. We've been working on scaling the bootcamp. We've also changed it a little bit. So because it's so much one-on-one support and we work with people so heavily, it is a big investment. And the bootcamp now, instead of being specific courses, it's more of a point of access to all of our courses and content, as well as all of the team, getting on one-on-ones with all of the team as needed. So it's where we get very, very invested in your success, and it's not right for everyone. It's a very big financial investment. So it's application only now. We're making sure that the people that we work with are going to see a return on investment. It's not just hey, here's an open enrollment, everyone who wants to enroll, and then we'll do our best to support you. We're kind of vetting people a bit better and making sure it makes sense on both of our ends before people invest in that. So because of that, since that's going to be having fewer people in it going forward, we're making the content itself more accessible. And this started, the first self-paced course we did was the Storyline Project Lab. So we launched that in either October or November, and there are over 500 people in it now. And that's this self-paced course about how it's basically how to use Storyline to a professional level, and it helps you build portfolio projects in the process. So that course was a hit. And it showed me, it's okay, we can create a course I'm calling it a course just because that's what most people know it by, but it is very like practical, hands-on. It's not like a lecture style type thing that you would expect in like school, for example. But that showed me it's like, yeah, we can create something that is way more scalable than the bootcamp that people still get a ton of value out of. So seeing that is what led to some of these decisions around the bootcamp. It's like we can provide more value to more people at a lower price point without this level of one-on-one support and feedback. That's keeping me burnt out and keeping me away from creating free content. So that led to a recent decision in the past couple of months to create what used to be the bootcamp content and turn that into this like standout portfolio bundle. So these 2 separate courses that are now self-paced with community support. So we just finished that launch like on Friday. So we'll see how these 100 or so people that joined, we'll see what people create with that. I'll be updating that content and optimizing it even further as needed based on the feedback to make it very like self-paced friendly. And we'll see if we can get people most of the way that they would get in the bootcamp, but at a lower price point and without that support from our team, but with us encouraging the community support. So again, sorry if the course stuff is boring for you. I feel like I've been talking about this for a minute, but we that is like kind of our monetization plan going forward, is focusing more heavily on these like self-paced courses, and then people in the bootcamp get access to everything with like a subscription fee essentially. So the next one I'm building on, which I'm really excited about, is the ID Project Lab. So this is like the instructional design counterpart to the Storyline Project Lab. So it's going to focus on more like instructional design theory and processes and like writing, like objective writing and all of that. And the deliverables, instead of being Storyline e-learning projects, the deliverables are going to be an instructional design document and a storyboard template and a written storyboard for an interactive e-learning project and an animated video script. And it's going to be all about how to apply like Gagne's 9 events and Mayer's multimedia principles and Bloom's taxonomy to write strong objectives. So a lot of these traditional skills that you would learn in a master's program, or traditional like theories, I should say, we're going to like take all of those theories and help you apply them to these very practical deliverables that you would need to create in an instructional design job or for these freelance opportunities. So that's the next like big course I'm doing. We're aiming to launch that in November, and I'll probably pre-sell it in August. And then we also have this trio of courses that are about creating a resume, acing the interview, and then getting found on LinkedIn. So with this combo of these initial 7 courses we're building, it's going to basically hopefully make people like unstoppable on the ID job market, and it's going to help people do that very, very effectively, even without one-on-ones or unlimited feedback from the team. So that's where we're headed. So we'll see how things progress with that. Let me know if you have any thoughts on any of that or questions. I know some of you 500 of you are in the Storyline Project Lab. So let me know how you're feeling about the ID Project Lab. That one's been on my mind for like a while now. And last thing I want to get into with you all is the free content. So we've done a lot of e-learning content over the past year. So like how to design effective e-learning. That was like the big video from this year. And then I did a lot of supporting videos for that. But now what I'm most excited about, and what I'm going to record like right after this, I think, to get this started, is content about the traditional instructional design theories and learning science and instructional design processes. A lot of these other things that you would learn in a master's program that like there are kind of some gaps on YouTube for that content. So, and it just seems like a nice complement too for this ID Project Lab course to like lead up to that. So I have like a long list of all these like videos I want to cover about the science and the theories. So it'll be cool diving into that and talking about how we can apply it to these instructional design and e-learning projects. So I'm going to refocus on that with the free YouTube videos. Also, if you still want them, I'm happy to make Storyline tutorials. I mean, I don't spend as much time in Storyline now. I feel like I've created like so many hours of these tutorials, and then with the Storyline Project Lab, I'm like, I think you all may have what you need, but I'm happy to do more Storyline content if you all think it would be helpful. So let me know in the comments if you still want to see some of that. Something I've also been excited about for a while, but I'm like finally letting it go, at least until the beginning of next year, is content about how to create a course selling business. I mean, you all have probably seen my journey going from master student to freelancer to now creating content and selling these courses. I feel like there's kind of a gap in the free content space as well about how to create a business like this without spending money on ads, and just by doing it organically. It's like focusing on helping people for free, and then you have paid offers that people can enroll in. And And it may not sound like it from what I've been talking about in this video, talking about being burnt out, working till midnight sometimes and all of that. But this kind of business does give a way more freedom than I had as a freelancer. In case you didn't know this about me, I just like putting a lot of pressure on myself and like trying to grow, trying to help more people get bigger. I put a lot of pressure on myself. But if you were happy, not expanding and experimenting with all this stuff, then it's a very good business to run, and a lot of instructional designers already have a lot of the skills that you would need to run a business like this. So I think that would be really helpful for you all. I don't have a ton of people asking me for that kind of content, like, hey, how do you create a course selling business? But I am having those conversations more and more, and I've been telling people for like months now. I'm like, pretty soon I'm going to create this content, but I think in January will be a good time for me to dive into that playlist because I have that all mapped out as well. I'm just waiting for the right time to actually record it for you all. So let me know if there's anything else you want to see, any other content that I didn't mention. Let me know what you want to see in the comments below. Obviously, I want to create what would be most helpful for you all. And I'm really excited to get back into this like YouTube content first mindset instead of being in this like building a team mindset. Like I said, I'm going to slow down the growth a bit, refocus on YouTube and refocus on giving you all what you want to see for free here on the channel. So that's everything. Thank you for making it to the end here. I feel like I could keep rambling, but I think it's time to wrap this one up. And I will see you in the next videos, which are going to be all about instructional design theory and principles and learning science. So let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see, and I will see you in the next video.